John DeArmond with the Coquille Sword Group, and today we're going over Article 32. So, let's begin. Article 32, the teaching of the general and the soldier. The general and the soldier is the teaching that you should always see yourself as the general and your opponent as your follower. However, this teaching is only then completely understandable in its entire meaning when you have experienced the complete logic of the martial arts through training. At all events, you should, seeing yourself as a general and your opponent as a follower, not allow your opponent to do anything he wishes. You should allow your opponent to swing his sword after your will at any time, confuse him as you wish, and not allow him to forge schemes. This is very important. So, obviously the theme for this article is dominance, right? The notion of dominating your opponent's ability to work is pretty cut and dry. What's not immediately apparent is that this mindset is not just to control and sort of manipulate your opponent, but it's one of the stepping stones that helps you kind of actualize the mental state that you're training for in a real fight. What do I mean by this? When we're in class, when we're working, it's easy to sort of intellectually explore the ideas like the void or body of a rock or any of these sort of position non-position ideas in which we just have this sort of calm bearing, it's adaptable, not static, really nice and spot on. The problem, of course, comes in applying that in the fight. Oftentimes, especially at kind of the low and intermediate skill levels, it's difficult to bridge the gap between intellectual understanding and sort of an actual proficiency and an ability to use it when you need it. And this teaching of the general and soldier is one of the little sort of like training wheel steps that we can take to get our minds used to this idea that we're good, right? And we work the opponent where we want them to, so that we're not just reacting to them, and we're not being pushed around by them. Even if we're acting in response to them, it's not so much reaction as taking another action. It's it can seem sort of like a semantic argument, but there's a different feeling and a different mindset. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that until you kind of experience it, somebody doing it on you, or you sort of bumbling into it yourself, or intentionally doing it, right, if you're training with intent, it's very hard to understand. Or, well, it can be a little bit more obscure than it needs to be. The point. Controlling yourself without effort, right? Because obviously it does us no good to get in the fight, to start getting to work and be like, oh nope, gotta be stoic, gotta be steadfast, right? We're gonna be preoccupied, right, with the dude that's trying to stick his 3-foot razor blade in our eyeball. So we, much like the rest of our work, it has to happen automatically, right? And for it to be automatic, it really has to be a deep part of us in our training, right? So let's explore this just a little bit more. So he says, okay, to really understand what we're talking about here, you have to, what are his exact words? Yeah, the teaching only becomes completely understandable in its entire meaning when you've experienced the complete logic of martial arts through training. Okay. Okay, well, complete logic of martial arts, what is this? Right? Simply put, it's kind of like the order of operations, like you would use in math, right? Step one, we have to protect ourselves. Why? Because if the dude's trying to work us, and we work him without protecting ourselves, doesn't matter that he drops, we drop too, right? Doesn't matter if he tries to work us, we get out of the way and we drop him, but we haven't dropped him in a way that protects our position, and he drops us afterwards, right? We have to protect ourselves first, because that's what allows us to continue to work, and to work efficiently, and to work sort of beyond this one instant. Everybody has this idea, well, it's generalization. A lot of people have this idea that samurai were just like, nah man, he swings at me, I'm going to swing at him, we're just going to kill each other. Glory to my lord! And that's, of course, that's not a thing. So, you know, the Japanese are people, right? And people value their life. People want to go home to their family. Of course, we need to protect ourselves. Of course, it can't stop there, right? Because if all I do is protect myself, he's going to overwhelm me. Like, there's no way that any person can defend themselves forever. So, our next step is to improve our position, or to improve our relation to our opponent. This often means improving our position, because position is one of the ways we relate to our opponent. But there are several other ways it can happen too. So why do we do this, right? Why not just hit the guy, right? We've protected ourselves, right? We parry, why not just hit it? If we start the engagement and all the factors are kind of on our side, where we're stronger, fitter, more skill, the environment's favorable to us, if we're fighting in numbers, the number advantages for us, then absolutely we can do that, right? Right? Because when it comes down to it, it's not equal, right? We have the advantage. But if we're in sort of an equivocal situation, or if they've got more skill, or more favorable terrain, or more numbers, right? If we just attack, chances are they're going to have some sort of work against that. They're going to... We're giving them an opportunity to show off their sneaky ninja skills. But if instead we take that split moment after we've protected ourselves through whatever means, and we improve our position, improve our relation to the opponent in some fashion, now we're breaking down the advantages that they have, could have, may have, right? So if they were worse than us, then we beat them by an easier margin. It's more efficient for us. If they were the same as us, now we've got the leg up. If they were better than us, now we're starting to bridge that gap of difference, right? Obviously, from here, the last step is to resolve the threat. Now, this sort of order of operations: protect yourself, improve your relationship, resolve the issue. Super simple, super simple, and it's one of those things that even with just this idea, right, and no real technical knowledge, you could be successful if you just worked on these ideas and, you know, played with it, experimented to develop work that worked for you, you know, sort of without needing a specific system or method, because it's a strategy, right? So it's definitely worth thinking about it, and how it relates to this idea of the teaching of the general and soldier, right? So, dude attacks me, right? First I gotta protect myself. Well, however I choose to do that. Let's say I'm just stepping off the line, right? Like in Ukanagashi, right? I step off the line, I'm preventing him from doing what he wants, which is to open my head, right? But I'm also letting him do something that is useless. In other words, make that swing. Because if I'm not there, that swing is just costing him time, right? And Time is money, right? Next, I improve my position. I don't let him task on me. I don't let him rekey his his box of strength between his hips and shoulders onto me. I come off and I make it so that it's difficult for him to use his tools for his movement. I limit his perception by my position. There's all sorts of ways of improving your relation. This further retards his ability to do what he wants. I'm just like a sheepdog going, okay, move the flock this way, move the flock that way. Doesn't matter where they want to go. I'm herding them into the relation that I want, right? And that's really what this is all about, is controlling the relation between you and your opponent. And this is actually something, this topic of relations is, I'm probably going to do a whole sort of long-winded stand on the soapbox rant kind of video about it and its importance in martial arts, especially at the sort of higher level. But not today, right? And then lastly, you resolve them. Not in a way that lets them work on you, but in a way that just closes them, right? Just takes care of it. The idea is simple, right? So you don't have to overthink it too much, right? You just control the dude, right? You control the dude by controlling yourself, but not too much attention. Okay, I think that's it for the general and the soldier. As always, if you want to understand this work, you have to pick up a sword and go train.